What's up, everybody? Louis back here again. Finally, we had a week off. It feels like forever. We had those boxing fights, but we finally got some real MMA, high quality MMA. Finally, we're back. UFC Vegas 37. Not the best card, but you got a fun main event. Anthony Smith taking on Ryan Spann, and you got CUTELABA taking on Devin Clark on 205 division. See what's going to happen after the title fight. And then you got the return of Joaquin Buckley, see what he can do, make or break for him, in my opinion. And then the one fight I look out for, Nate Maness and Tony Gravely. I think that's going to be the banger. But anyway, I really think it's a good spot for some underdogs. I did my research, hopefully making some money making up, for my past couple weeks. Let's get right into it. The feature fight on the prelims at 155, last minute replacement. You got Brandon Jenkins stepping up from PFL. He just fought in April, taking on Zhu Rong. Jenkins, his last fight, took on Jacob Kilburn. Pretty quick fight, but only tape I could find. In the first round, he gets clinched, but he uses the tie clinch and lands knees to the body, which I like to see. I saw a lot of that studying tape for this card, actually. And then he pumps a leg kick to move forward, but he eats a head kick, but then he lands an uppercut, and then he lands a 1-2, and then a leg kick, and he eats a combination whenever Kilburn rushes forward, but then he takes a step back and just lands a flying knee and goes for broke and lands it and knocks the dude out. So good on him. He's explosive, he's got power, and he's smart. And then Zhu Rong, his last fight, he took on Arroyo Vargas. In the first round, he gets hit with jabs. As he's standing in front of him. He lands a short right hand, but he gets hit with jabs as he's trying to work in on Vargas. Had a lot of trouble getting inside of him. Then in the second round, he's able to catch Vargas's kick, and he's able to get into full guard. And then he defends the guillotine attempt, and then he's able to scramble and take Vargas's back. But he gets reversed, but then he's able to get back up to his feet. And then in the third round, he comes forward and lands a jab, and then a hard straight right. Then he gets tagged with jabs at close range. So that's just whenever he gets in the pocket, throws a little too much and gets tagged. But then he's able to rock him with a short right as Vargas rushes forward. And then he gets a takedown with 10 seconds left. And then he's able to roll through the wizard of Vargas and scramble and get the top position. So he can wrestle through the positions, which is nice to see. You got Zhu Rong minus 305 and Brandon Jenkins plus 240. And it's late notice, and who knows how ready Jenkins is. But, I know one thing. I know Zhu Rong definitely is at minus 300 level. I'm sorry he's not. I might lose this one, but this is why I don't even care if I lose. My pick here is Brandon Jenkins, plus 240. The main event of the prelims, you got a fun scrap at women's bantamweight. Pandy Kianzad taking on Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington coming from a long layoff, back in action. Kianzad took on Alexis Davis her last fight. In the first round, she pulls the plum tie and lands knees, and she presses the fence. Like I said, you see that a lot on this card, I believe. And then she pumps a jab and lands a check left hook, and then she lands a counter straight right as Alexis throws a kick, and then she lands a jab as Davis moves forward into her. And in the second round, she lands a right cross, lands a 1-2 at close range, and then lands a lead left hook, but she eats calf kicks along the way, but it's kind of normal. And then she lands a straight right, and then she starts getting pressed, and she loses power toward the end of the second round. It was pretty noticeable. But then the third round, she comes forward and throws a 1-2, and then she stays at range and backs up, and she looks to counter Alexis's jabs, and then they get into a firefight, and then she lands a left hook. And, so she can't get the better of the exchanges. And then Raquel Pennington, she took on Marion Renault her last fight, which is about a little over a year ago. In the first round, she eats combinations as she's moving forward, but then she lands a right to the body and then a left hook, and then she gets the clinch to the fence and lands knees. However, she gets reversed in the clinch, and Marion gets around her back standing, but, she doesn't go down, get controlled too much. In the second round, she gets clinched but lands knees to the head using the plum tie, and then she's returning her jab with a flurry of her own. Whenever she would get jab, she would throw combinations, and then she keeps the plum tie, but then she gets taken down, but then she gets back up, and she's able to reshoot and get on top. Marion was just kind of exhausted, sitting down on the floor, and then she went around the back and got on top. And then in the third round, she gets taken down briefly with a body lock, but then she gets the clinch and starts walking her down with a straight right, and then she lands knees with the tie clinch again, and then she starts landing flurries with an uppercut and then a 1-2, and then she's able to stuff her double and then land some hard elbows on the ground. Raquel minus 130, Panty plus 110. This is a tough one. I don't like layoffs, but honestly, I don't know why, but I think it's different in women's division. I just like Pennington's forward pressure. I like the clinch. I think she can make it a dirty fight. I think, the rounds are close. I think Pennington can squeak him out because of control. I like the minus 130 is whatever. My pick here is Raquel Pennington. And then the main event on the prelims. 205, you got Mike Rodriguez taking on Tufan and Chooque. Should be a fun fight. Mike Rodriguez, he took on Danilo Marquez his last fight. Not a good showing from him. In the first round, he gets taken down with a single right away, but he uses the wall to stand up, wall walks, but he gets clinched and taken down again, and just gets controlled for the first round, didn't really do anything. And then in the second round, he stuffs a few shots, and he lands an uppercut, but he gets taken down again, and he gives up full mount this time, and he tries to get up, but he gives up his back, and gets rear naked choke, and just passes out. He didn't really show up. And the fight before that, he took on Ed Herman, which was demoralizing because he won, and then Ed Herman, or the ref, whoever, they called it a low blow instead of a body shot, should have beat him. That sucks. I don't know if that's in his head, but, he did not have a good performance his last fight. Then Tufan and Chooque, he took on Park Jong-young his last fight. In the first round, he stands at range, eats 1-2s, he eats a jab at range, but he lands a few body kicks, but, basically getting pieced up the first round. And then in the second round, he presses with body shots up against the fence, and then he stuffs a single and lands on top, and then he lands some elbows. But then in the third round, he eats jabs as he's moving forward. He keeps getting hit, and then his kick is caught, and he gets taken down into half guard. But he gets back to his feet, but then he gets tripped and taken back down again. And then he gives up the 3/4 mount, and then he gives up the back and eats heavy ground and pound. And Park Jong-young is really good on the ground, and it took him a while, but finally got dominated on the ground. Take a look at the line. Tufan -120, Mike +100. I really don't know, man. I really don't think any fighter is that great, but Mike Rodriguez did nothing his last fight. And Chooque at least, has some fight in him, and scrambling was in there. -120, nothing to really think about. My pick here is Tufan and Chooque. First fight in the main card, you got a fun banger. You got middleweight Joaquin Buckley taking on Antonio Arroyo. Joaquin Buckley, his last fight, not much to it. They showed a chair go, just head kicked him and knocked him out. And he was a big favorite and didn't look good. But before that, he took on Jordan Wright. You got to see a lot more of his skills in the fight. In the first round, Jordan Wright, he works his way in with hooks, and then he gets the clinch against the fence, and then he clips Jordan with the left hook. He stalks forward and lands a 1-2 with hooks, but he misses some of them, lands some of them. He eats a knee up the middle and eats a body kick from Jordan. But then he works his way inside and starts landing a flurry of hooks, and then he's able to drop them toward the end of the round. Then a second round, picks up where he left off, just stalks and lands left hook and gets a knockout. He was already messed up from the first round, so he looked good, looked really powerful, but, he definitely eats some shots. Antonio Arroyo, he took on Duran Win his last fight. In the first round, he gets taken down with a double on the fence, but he gets separation and gets to the feet, but then he gets taken down with a single, and he starts stalking and lands jabs on Duran, and then he stuffs a single in a crotch lock position, and then he's able to get up and land a 1-2 on Duran, so decent showing from him. Duran's such a great wrestler. In the second round, he lands a jab. He gets taken down off of a spinning back kick, very bad ring IQ. Duran ducks the jab, and then he gets taken down with a double, and he gives up his back up against the fence, but eventually he's able to work his way out. But then back on his feet, tries to jab, tries to work his way inside, and he gets taken down with a double, and then he just starts accepting the bottom position, doesn't even really try to get out toward the end of that round. And then the third round, he gets taken down with a double immediately, and then he eventually gets back on his feet, and then he comes forward and lands a knee, but he gets taken down, and just more of the same, just keeps getting taken down. Duran basically turned into a wrestling match, but he showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of fight, and Duran's might be one of the best wrestlers in the sport, to be honest with you. Antonio Arroyo +170, Joaquin Buckley -200. I don't know. I really don't think Buckley's that good. Definitely not worth -200. He just cost a lot of people a lot of money his last fight. So I don't think Arroyo's that good either, but I like the price. My pick here is Antonio Arroyo, just for the value. And then second fight on the main card, bantamweight. You got the banger alert. You got Nate Maness taking on Tony Gravely. I think this might be fight of the night here. Nate Maness, he took on Luke Sanders his last fight. In the first round, he lands a counter right hook as Luke moves in, but he eats calf and body kicks on his way, and he gets clenched, but he's able to catch the knee, and then he's able to get back control in the standing backpack position. But then he eats a flurry with hooks and straight punches against the fence. Good scramble, good back and forth the first round, but he was able to maintain control. And then in the second round, he eats overhand left from Luke, but he gets blitzed, but lands a counter shot, and he's able to get out of the way. and then he gets walked down and eats a 1-2, and then knees to the body in a tie clinch, but he lands counter hooks to the body. Whenever Sanders has that plum tie, he's able to, hits him to the body, which was, make good use of the situation. And then he's able to drop him with a straight right after the flurry from Luke, and then he gets the trip takedown and gets back control and just gets a rear naked choke submission. But, one thing I noticed, Maness does get hit a lot, but he'll take one to give one. But, he looked good, got the finish ultimately. And then Tony Gravely, his last fight, he took on Anthony Burchak. In the first round, he stalks forward, lands 1-2, and then a hard right, and he gets the body lock takedown, and then he's able to control the clinch against the fence. And then separation, he's able to drop him with a right hook. But he gets swept during ground and pound. But, he's doing some damage. He gets swept, but no big deal, change of position. And then he gets the full guard whenever Burchak tries the guillotine, and then he lands heavy ground and pound around the back. And then the second round, he presses the clinch immediately and shoots the double, and then he gets the body lock takedown. And then back on the feet, he's able to get the knockout with the left hook. And, Tony Gravely is pressured the whole time. Didn't really take too much damage. You take a look at the betting line, Gravely minus 210, Nate Maness plus 175. This is a tough one for me because Maness is more than capable of winning this fight. But, there's a lot of underdogs on the card, as you'll see coming up, and they can't all hit. At least I don't think so. And, minus 210 is, right at the threshold. You really got to think hard about it, and I did. And I just think Gravely's going to maintain control the whole time. I think Maness is going to just take too much damage. I might be wrong here, but I like Gravely here. And then the third fight on the main card at lightweight, you got Arman Tsarukyan taking on Christos Giagas, and Tsarukyan is the biggest favorite on the card. His last fight, he took on Matt Frevola. Matt Frevola took that fight on short notice, the week of, I believe. In the first round, he catches the kick and he gets taken down immediately, but then gets the takedown immediately, but then he stalks and he pumps a jab and he gets pressed, but he's able to slip match shots and pick his own shots and lands jabs and lands a straight right. However, he gets rocked with the right hook in the clinch, but he recovers. And then in the second round, he shoots a single, and then he gets the body lock on top, and he's able to get a lot of mat returns. And then he just smothers Matt the whole round. Doesn't let him up, which is, it's really good to see the guy getting the mat returns. And then in the third round, he doesn't hold him down with a double, but he's able to land a head kick back on the feet. And then he stalks forward and pumps a jab, and he looks to land the right hand. And then he gets single attempts. And then he gets the single, and then he attempts an anaconda, but Matt is able to get back to his feet. And then on the feet, he slips a jab and lands a 1-2, and then he gets the single leg takedown, and then gets back control to ride out the rest of the fight. And, Frevola, very tough fighter, isn't going to give up anything easy. And, Tsarukyan looked good, controlled him the whole fight. And then Christos Giagas, his last fight, he took on Sean Soriano. In the first round of that fight, he rocks him with the straight right, and he gets a double against the fence, and then he's able to get back control, but Sean's able to work his way out. And then he eats a right, and he gets rocked with a jab and then a right hook, but then he's able to land a straight right, but he gets tagged with a counter hook, and then he eats a head kick. So not the best showing from him, but, he hung in there, he can take a shot. And then second round, he stalks forward, eats a 1-2 hook, and then he shoots the double, and then he's able to wrestle through the whizzer from Soriano, and he's able to get side control, and then he just slaps the Darce on him real quick and gets a submission. So Giagas is plus 550, Tsarukyan minus 800. I don't know, man. I don't like betting minus 800 on anybody. I mean, Tsarukyan looked really good, but, if he was really 800, he would have finished Matt Frevola. And, yeah, Giagas takes some punishment, but, he can slap that Darce on. And what's going to happen, Tsarukyan, he gets dragged into deep water, and Giagas might be able to make him really tired, might be able to catch a submission, or just get on top of him and win a couple rounds or hurt him, whatever. I don't know, man, but minus 800 for Tsarukyan, I don't like it, man. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I just can't bet it. My pick here is Christos Giagas. All right, the feature fight on the main card. I don't know why this is this, but whatever. Ariana Lipski taking on Mandy Baum at women's flyweight. Don't know. Ariana Lipski lost her last fight. I guess maybe they think Mandy Baum could be a superstar. Whatever. But Lipski took on Montana De La Rosa her last fight. Didn't go well for her. In the first round, she waits to throw a check hook whenever Montana rushes. and then she gets taken down with the body lock while she throws her hook. But then she throws some elbows from bottom, but doesn't try any submissions or anything like that. And then the second round, she comes forward and lands a right hook and then an uppercut, but she gets taken down. And then she tries a omoplata, doesn't fully commit, but Montana is able to scramble out into half guard, and then she just rains down elbows on Lipski. And then Lipski eventually gives up full mount, eats a lot of ground and pound, can't move, tries to buck her off, cannot move, and just gets TKO'd from there. Didn't look good. And then Mandy Baum, she fought in Bellator her last fight. She took on Greet. Ecout, I believe. Sorry. In the first round, she uses a tie clinch, and then she lands combination against the fence. Her kick gets caught, and she gets taken down, but she's able to work back to her feet, which I like to see. And then she lands knees to the body with a tie clinch again. Like I said, everybody using that tie clinch on this card for some reason. And then she lands knees and elbows against the fence, but she gets reversed, and she gets pressed, and she gets the body trip takedown to end the round, ended the round on top, which looked really good. Then the second round, she pumps the jab whenever Greet comes forward. She lands a 1-2 and then a body kick, and then she gets the tie clinch again against the fence, and then she fires knees to the stomach, and then she eats a jab standing in the pocket though. And in the third round, Greet comes forward and lands a right hook on her, but she eats a right, and she gets clinched to the fence, but she's able to duck under the jab, and she's able to get a takedown with a body lock, and then get into side control right away. And then back on the feet, she lands the right hand as Greet moves forward, and just used her ninja, was able to jab her, was able to get in, get the clinch, get the takedown when she needed to. I thought she looked okay. It's really hard to tell, but Mandy Baum plus 105, Lipski minus 125. I'm just gonna go with Baum. I don't know. Coin flip, I guess, but Lipski got TKO'd her last fight, and Baum's a new fighter, fresh, hungry. She looked good her last fight. I'm gonna go with Baum for plus money. And then co-main event, you got banger at light heavyweight 205. You got CUTELABA taking on Devin Clark. CUTELABA, his last fight, he took on Dustin Jacoby. A great fight. In the first round, he lands a short left hook, and then he lands a hard straight right, and then he's able to get the double leg and get her on the back of Dustin, and just stayed there for basically the whole round. It kept mat returning him and landed a lot of ground and pound, kept hitting him in the face. And, the ref kept warning Dustin to keep moving, and he did just enough, so the ref wouldn't stop it. And then he looked really good. But then Jacoby gets out with like 30 seconds to go, and then CUTELABA starts eating some jabs at the end of the round. But dominant first round. I thought it was a 10-8 for sure. And then the second round, he gets a double leg right away, and then he gets around the back. But then back on the feet, he slips a jab, and he lands body shots, and then he gets pressed by Dustin, and he eats an uppercut, and then he cannot get the double leg, shoots it, and Dustin finally stuffed it, so that's a turning point in the fight. Ian's getting a little tired. He lands a straight right in the pocket, though, when they're both striking, and then he stalks, and he lands a few straight punches, but he eats a counter uppercut and combinations from Dustin, so that round was pretty back and forth. You could see CUTELABA start to lose control in the second half of that round, but still pretty competitive. In the third round, he eats a head kick in a striking exchange. He lands a 1-2, but then he eats a counter from Dustin, and then he's able to double jab and right cross Dustin, which is really nice. So Ian might lose a little power, be moving a little slow, but he can still pop off those jabs and those power shots. And then he gets the clinch against the fence, and he lands a 1-2 in the pocket exchange, but he gets taken down at the end by Dustin. So, but he looked good. I don't know, man. I think the second and third round could have went either way, to be honest. I guess the draw is fair, but I just know CUTELABA looked really good in the first round. Second, he didn't look bad, but he didn't look as good. So, he really got, Ian's definitely a first-round fighter, but he can get it done if he has to. It depends how much damage he does in the first. But then Devin Clark, he took on Anthony Smith. His last fight didn't go well. Lands a right hand, he rushes forward, gets the clinch of the fence, but he gets taken down with the body lock from Anthony, and then he gets his back taken, but he's able to reverse the position and get on top of full guard, but, he just keeps working his way in, and Smith is setting up a triangle, and he finally gets it. That's bad ring IQ, in my opinion, and Anthony Smith tapped him out with the triangle. But then before that, he took on Alonzo Manifield, but that was last summer, so he's not too active. In the first round, he gets clinched, but then he gets hurt from a flurry up against the fence, because Manifield is a powerhouse puncher, but then he shoots a desperate single, but it gets stuffed, and then he eats an elbow over the top from Manifield. But he lands a jab and then a right hand, and then he lands a flurry of hooks of his own. So he's, he might take a lot of damage, but he's always looking to get right back. You can't really count him out, so I like that about him. In the second round, he lands a right hand as Alonzo rushes in, but he eats a head kick, but he stuffs the single leg, and then he lands a head kick in the clinch right after they break out of the clinch, and then he eats an uppercut and overhand right from Alonzo. And then the third round, his single leg gets stuffed again. Alonzo really good hips, and it was hard for Devin to get a takedown on him. Then he lands a knee against the fence, but he's able to reverse the clinch, and then he's able to land knees to Alonzo's stomach, and then he gets the body lock takedown and gets back control to end the fight. So he ended the fight in dominant fashion. It was a pretty good back and forth for the second and third rounds. I like how Devin looked, but he takes a little bit too much damage. Devin is plus 125. CUTELABA is minus 145. I prefer CUTELABA be the underdog because he fights like an underdog, do or die kind of, but that price isn't too bad, and I just really don't like how Devin Clark looked his last fight. And Alonzo Manifield is nobody special. My pick here is Ian CUTELABA. And then for the main event, at 205 pounds light heavyweight, you got Anthony Lionheart Smith taking on Ryan Superman Spann. Is it the most intriguing main event? No, but it's fun. I'm an Anthony Smith fan, low key. Like, I like what he does. He just loses and gets back on track. And then, Ryan Spann, took the loss to Johnny Walker, and then his last fight got the win against Serkinov, a big knockout. And, they're about to fight for a 205 title, and they got a couple contenders with Jerry and Rakic. But, this is setting up who's going to be that next guy. Who's going to be the next guy after that. So this win's huge for either guy, honestly. So it's fun. It's all right. Anthony Smith took on Jimmy Crute his last fight. In the first round, he lands a jab. He eats leg kicks, though. But he continues, so he's landing that jab. His left jab is precise. Goes straight out, straight back. No wasted movement. It's beautiful. He was busting up Crute's face already, and then he lands a short right hook, and then he's able to drop him with a leg kick right around the knee. Perfect placement. Call it nerve damage. It doesn't matter. He dropped him with the leg kick, but he gets taken down with a double because Crute can't do anything else with his leg. And then he gives up the back, but he eats some ground and pound. But he gets up, but then he gets taken back down again by Crute. And then he eats some ground and pound in full guard. So I didn't like that from him. I don't know what he was doing there. I think probably Crute won that first round, but whatever. Maybe he knew his leg and just didn't really go that hard because he knew his leg wasn't going to hold up. But then, yeah, they stopped it. Doctor stoppage TKO because of Crute's leg. But, Smith looked good, man. That jab is money. So I like that from him. He just got to watch the takedowns. But, I think his defense is okay. And then Ryan Spann, he took on Misha Serkinov his last fight. And not too much to it. Got the big knockout. First round, he eats a head kick, but he pumps the jab the whole time, and he eats a jab. But he's able to counter with a hook, and then he drops him with the right hook in the pocket, and then he stalks forward, and then he drops him with the straight right and just gets on top of him, gets a TKO victory. Looked really good, and what I liked about him was that he dropped him the first time, didn't go crazy, didn't blow himself out, let him back up and walk him down and hit him again. And, that's good ring IQ from Ryan Spann. But his last fight when he fought Johnny Walker, terrible ring IQ, because this is what happened. In the first round, he lands left hook as Walker rushes, and then he gets a double leg takedown. And then he's able to clinch up against the fence. Walker got right back up. But then he drops him with the counter left hook as Walker is throwing his head kick. And then he's able to get the full mount. And then they work their way back up to the feet. But then he drops him with a left hook again. And then he presses the double up against the fence. But Johnny Walker is able to hammer fist him and elbow his head while he's working on that double. And he gets TKO'd. And he didn't move his head or didn't back off from a double or nothing, even though he just had Johnny Walker rocked. So, yeah, terrible ring IQ there. But his last fight, he showed great ring IQ. So, I don't know, man. It is what it is with Ryan Spann. But basically, he's 1-1. And he had a terrible performance. Actually, he had a really good performance where he lost it himself. But, he rocked Johnny Walker, had him hurt. That's nothing easy. And then Misha Serkinov just knocked him the fuck out. He looked great. Ryan Spann plus 150. Anthony Smith minus 170. But you know what, man? I can't really count Anthony Smith out. If Anthony Smith is minus 200, I think you got to take him. I think Anthony Smith is the gatekeeper at 205. If you want to be elite, you got to be Anthony Smith. I don't think Ryan Spann is quite there yet. It's going to be a fun fight. But my pick here is Anthony Smith. I think that jab's going to be a lot. And then when it gets to the ground, I think, he'll be able to throw up submissions. I don't know if Ryan Spann even really wants to go to the ground with him. My pick here is Anthony Smith. All right, guys, that should do it for UFC Vegas 37. Should be a fun card. But, you know, next week we got Volkanovski and Ortega, and then you got the return of Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz. Should be a fun card. And then, you know, in October we got Aljamain and Jan, and then we got Jan Blachowicz taking on Glover Teixeira for the title. And then next week you got Kamaru and you got Rose, and you got all those title fights. It's going to be a fun time. It's been a little slow, but it's going to pick up, and we're going to have a fun fall/winter. But anyway, I appreciate the support. Thanks for listening to me. We're going to do good this week. We're going to win money. A lot of underdog spots here. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. More talk. Leave comments. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you want to work on. Have discussion with me. Appreciate it, guys. I'll see ya. Let's get ready for this fight, and let's win some money.